All right, welcome back. Apologies for the lack of episode last week. I had a lot of stuff going on and I had a few things to focus on, but I am here now. And what I wanted to talk about today ties in closely with the theme for this week, which is feelings and emotions. In the Limitless group yesterday, our Monday morning prep video included a feelings-based activity. And you'll see that much of the posts going out this week are all about feelings and emotions. And I think it's a very important topic and something that isn't addressed enough in the personal development world. And I believe it's the missing link between training the mind and doing the work and obviously training the body. And I know for most people, and the same is true for me, nothing really changed in my own life until I started to do the work around feelings and emotions. So it's a really important, powerful topic. But let's get really specific. On Netflix at the moment, there is a series about Gwyneth Paltrow's company called 𝐓𝐞𝐬𝐬, and it's basically a wellness and lifestyle company. And the show follows the main team as they explore some of the slightly more out there trends and topics. So they cover things like bioenergetics, cold therapy, anti-aging. But the one I want to focus on today was an episode they did about psychedelics. The team travel over to Jamaica and they do mushrooms. Personally, I have never done psychedelics, but I think as a form of therapy, done in the right way, under the right circumstances, it can be hugely beneficial for people. And I will touch on why in a moment. So the team go over to Jamaica to a registered facility and they're guided through the process. They brew up a tea with very specific doses. Everything is really controlled. The experience is controlled. It's overseen by trained therapists who help them deal with it all. And each of the team members that goes in has a specific thing that they know they want to deal with, something that has been preventing them from moving on in life. So they all go in with an idea of what they actually want to deal with. And it's really important just to say before we go any further that I am not condoning the use of drugs or anything else. When psychedelics first came up into the mainstream in the 50s and 60s, there was a lot of research done into their benefits for treating mental health disorders. But it was quickly shut down in the 70s because the recreational use of the drugs got out of hand. So don't be a dumbass. Don't go and do drugs. That's not what I'm saying. This is about their use in therapy and under controlled conditions, because there has recently been a resurgence of clinical trials and work around psychedelics, particularly MDMA, and a lot of it is pointing towards benefits that are quite profound, but it is very new and it is something that is being heavily controlled, because if you get the dosages wrong, you don't have a therapist or a process in place to help you through the experience. It can be very scary and it can cause long-term damage. So don't be a dumbass, don't do drugs. But the basic idea is that these drugs that are being trialed can help remove barriers, which allows you to experience your emotions to the fullest extent. Tribes across the world have used psychedelic drugs for centuries in various rituals and coming-of-age ceremonies. Because of the greater understanding you get, the greater sense of self. But it only works if you have the capacity and the right processes to deal with it all. It's essentially becoming a tool to enhance the benefits of traditional therapy. In my opinion, traditional therapy fails most people because it's so hard to get to a place where you are able to fully feel the feelings associated with the experience that you have previously had that is keeping you stuck. Most of us push feelings away and we're not prepared to deal with them fully. In therapy, when you talk about the experiences you've had, you get to the point where you start to relive it and you start to feel the associated feelings, but then you're able to shove them back down, when the reality of it is the only way to really deal with something is to experience it fully in its entirety and then be in that until it passes and you can process it on a conscious level. You have to reach what's in the subconscious and all of those things that you're unaware of, all of those feelings that you are hiding, and then pull them up to the forefront, to the conscious level, before you can actually deal with them and let them go. And that's why the psychedelic drugs work so well, because the stress response is muted and you're able to feel everything fully without being able to stop it, which, if not done properly, is incredibly scary for people. You've heard me talk about it before. Your emotions and your feelings are chemical feedback. Emotions are energy in your body, and energy cannot be destroyed. It cannot be created. It can be transferred or transformed. But to do that, it has to be on the surface and it has to be at full force. You have to have full access to it. And many people are not willing to do that, which is why people stay plagued by things that happened 10, 20 years ago, because they haven't been able to bring it all the way to the surface and to deal with it. It's like cracking a door open. If you crack it a little bit, what's inside will never be able to leave. It can't get out. It's too big. But if you open it up wide, you create the space that it needs, and then you can watch it leave. So to deal with things, we have to really dig down into the subconscious and to feel it fully before you can let it go, or before you can change it into something else. And our inability to do that is why we stay stuck. And it is possible without drugs, of course it is, but as humans, it's in our nature to try and find an easier way. And the research shows that this might be it. And in the future, it may well become readily available as an option to everyone. I know that it is more available in the States at the moment. Within the next 5 or so years, it's due to be going to Australia. So I imagine that the UK will be following suit soon. And I believe it is a better option than dishing out drugs that act as sedatives or blockers or inhibitors and anything else that is given out as a means of trying to restore balance through essentially numbing feelings. Having spent quite a lot of time dealing with that kind of stuff, I know it's very attractive to want to feel out of it and away from it and to numb yourself and just float through life. But now, looking back, I can say that I would much rather have had a shorter, more painful experience that was completely uninhibited than have been a zombie for a long period of time. It's almost like when you feel a bit nauseous, it's that horrible feeling, it's always there. And as much as being sick physically sucks, once you've been sick, you feel better. You feel better after that persistent nausea has gone. So it's similar to that. And it's a real big difference maker. But the point is, to create change in your life, you have to be prepared to deal with feelings and things you don't necessarily want to deal with. Thinking about it isn't enough. Doing something isn't enough. Those are just surface level that may help and they'll get you a little bit further, but you're always limited if you're unprepared to deal with your feelings. So to go big, you have to go deep. And it's something that is a real difference maker, and it's something that has made a massive difference within my life, and it's why I try to incorporate it into all of the Project 𝐸 stuff and the work we do within the Limitless program. So as a call to action this week, it's a little bit more of a fun one. I want you to go and watch 𝐲𝐞 on Netflix and let me know your thoughts. Watch the psychedelics episode. And the other one that was interesting was the bioenergetics one. It's a little bit out there, but it was interesting to watch. I'm not a huge fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, but the show itself isn't bad and it is interesting. So give that a watch and then come and join us in the Limitless group and watch yesterday's video because it ties in nicely with this and it gives you a little feelings-based activity that you can do. The link for that is now up in the comments. So just go watch that, hit the link, do the activities in the group, and then you can start working on your relationship with your emotions. So give that a go. Links in the comments, as I said. I'll be back next week with another episode, but I hope to see you inside of the group.